Hi, this is Kevin Trainer, and I'd like to welcome you to my tutorial on using um, the Bitbucket repository system in one of my classes. So here I am. I'm logged into Bitbucket as myself. And how do I know that? Well, I can see if I go up to my little avatar icon that I am me. So I'm already logged in. Okay. And what I'm going to have is a list of the repositories that I'm able to use. And one of the things that I do is I set up repositories for the people to use in my class. And typically I name the repository in a way that you're going to recognize it as a repository for my class. So for instance, here I've created one called Repo 2016 Fall INFOST 490, which is a repository that I created for the senior capstone project at UWM in the fall of 2016. And what I've done is I've arranged for all of the people in my two sections of the 490 class to be added to a group that can access the repository, and we're going to be using it for practice. In fact, some people, particularly people in my on campus section, already have done that. So now, how can you tell if you are in the group? Well, if you are in the group successfully, then when you log in to your user ID on Bitbucket, you should see the repository. Now, how do I know who's in the group? Well, I can go to Bitbucket settings, which works for me, and I can find user groups that I defined. And you'll see that I have a group called Group INFOST 490 216 Fall, which is, of course, the group of students in that course. Now, one of the things I've already asked the students to do is to get an account on Bitbucket and to use their university email address when they did that. Well, them having used the university email address was an important part because when I went to add people to the group, I used their university email address. And they've really fallen into two groups. We've got one group who already had an account. Okay, so when I went to add them to my group, they got added. And these are all the people with the avatar icon. But if you go down to the end of the group, you'll see I've got maybe 20 people who still haven't responded to their invitation. So when I went to add them, they didn't have an account that was associated with that email address. So the server sent them an invitation to join this group. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and resend invitations to everybody who hasn't responded yet. And this might include you. If so, you should get an email in your university email account. And if you respond to it in the proper way, you should be able to get an account and become part of the group. Okay? And you need to be part of the group to get access to the repository. Okay? So the name of the group for our class and the name of the repository for our class are pretty similar. That's why I started the name of the group with the word group. And if you go back to my my account. Let's go to my account again. Let's go to repositories. So you can see that the repository, or let's just go to repositories. Sometimes these guys drive me a little crazy with these things. So this is the repository that I created. It's called Repo 2016 Fall INFOST 490. So it starts with repo. That's the repository. And the thing to know in particular, almost any tool that you're using as a Git client, when you want to create a clone of the repository on your machine, which would be the first thing you have to do, the easiest way to do that is to know this URL. Okay? So this is the URL that identifies this particular shared remote repository to whatever client that you're trying to use to clone that repository and get a local working copy of the repository on your computer. All right. So that's all you have to know here. If you haven't done all this, then it's time to do it. And the next thing we're going to be trying to do is to clone a working copy of the repository on our own computer. And that's going to be in another tutorial demo. And I'll say bye until then. Bye-bye.